He was born in obscurity, rose through war, built a nation's economy, and wrote his way into history. His name is Alexander Hamilton, founding father, author, soldier, and architect of America's financial system. You may know his name from a hit Broadway show, but the real Hamilton story is even more dramatic and more important. Welcome to Historic Vibes. Today, we dive deep into the life and legacy of Alexander Hamilton, one of the most brilliant and controversial minds in American history. Hamilton was born on the island of Nevis, in the West Indies in either 1755 or 1757, no one's entirely sure. His early life was shaped by tragedy. Born out of wedlock, abandoned by his father, and orphaned at around age 12 when his mother died, Hamilton's prospects were bleak. But young Alexander had one remarkable gift: his mind. At just 14, he was managing a trading company. He wrote an essay describing a hurricane that caught the attention of local leaders, who raised funds to send him to New York for an education. The hurricane blew away his past, but it also blew him toward destiny. Arriving in America, Hamilton studied at King's College, now Columbia University, but war would interrupt his education. In 1775, the colonies erupted into revolution. Hamilton joined a New York militia, rising rapidly through the ranks. By 1777, he was serving as George Washington's aide-de-camp, effectively his chief of staff. Hamilton was trusted with everything from troop movements to critical letters to Congress. But he wasn't content with paperwork. He wanted glory. In 1781, at the Battle of Yorktown, Washington finally granted Hamilton a combat command. He led a daring charge against a British redoubt. Victory was swift, and Hamilton had proven his valor. After the war, Hamilton turned his attention to politics, and more importantly, to structure. The Articles of Confederation were failing. The new nation was broke, disorganized, and weak. Hamilton was one of the strongest voices for a stronger federal government. He co-authored the Federalist Papers, 85 essays written with James Madison and John Jay, to defend the proposed U.S. Constitution. His writing was unmatched. Federalist number 84 even argued against the need for a Bill of Rights, not because he opposed individual liberty, but because he believed the Constitution itself limited government power. When Washington became the first president, he made a bold choice, appointing Hamilton as Secretary of the Treasury. And Hamilton, he got to work. He built the foundations of America's modern economy, a national bank, a system to assume state debts, the U.S. Mint, and a plan to encourage manufacturing and commerce. His plan was brilliant, but controversial. Thomas Jefferson and James Madison accused Hamilton of favoring elites and centralizing too much power. The fight gave birth to America's first political parties, Federalists led by Hamilton, and Democratic Republicans led by Jefferson. Hamilton married into the wealthy Schuyler family. His wife, Eliza, became his most steadfast supporter, but his personal life was far from spotless. In the 1790s, he was involved in the first major political sex scandal in U.S. history, the Reynolds Affair. Rather than deny it, Hamilton published a pamphlet admitting to the affair to prove he hadn't committed financial corruption. It worked politically, but damaged his reputation and devastated his wife. Despite the scandal, Hamilton remained influential behind the scenes, guiding Washington's farewell address and even influencing the hotly contested election of 1800. By 1804, Hamilton's influence had waned, but his enemies remained. Aaron Burr, then vice president, blamed Hamilton for ruining his political career. Burr challenged him to a duel. They met at Weehawken, New Jersey, on July the 11th, 1804. Hamilton, possibly intending to throw away his shot, fired into the air. Burr did not. His bullet struck Hamilton, fatally wounding him. Hamilton died the next day, 47 years old. His death shocked the nation. Even many who opposed him politically mourned the loss of his intellect and dedication. Hamilton's ideas endured. The national bank, strong federal power, support for commerce, all shaped the path of the United States. Though often overshadowed by Jefferson in the 19th century, Hamilton's star rose again in the 21st, especially after the Broadway musical that reintroduced his legacy to a global audience. But behind the spotlight is a true American story: an immigrant, a soldier, a writer, a visionary. Alexander Hamilton didn't just dream of a new nation, he wrote the blueprint. Thanks for watching Historic Vibes. If you learned something new about Alexander Hamilton, hit that like button, subscribe for more epic history, and tell us in the comments, what founding father should we cover next?